introduce our esteemed guest. Poroto Naro. Kia ora. I have a little description though I'd like to share if that's okay. It's come off the Learn's website. It says that you are a senior cultural advisor to ensure your job description is to ensure cultural safety practices from a Māori paradigm, engaging with tangata whenua throughout Aotearoa, bringing two cultures together, Māori and Pākehā. You've worked as a teacher, lecturer, project manager, senior cultural advisor, senior executive member, current chairman of 19 boards. Is it a bit more than that now? No. Representation at iwi, hapu, regional, national and international level. The favourite part of your job, apparently, is meeting people and learning a new history in relation to iwi connections across the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good, agree.
So, our topic of discussion for today is the role of art in supporting Te Reti o Waitangi. And some of the questions that I have hopefully will create a conversation or discussion. And we're happy to take questions as well from people out there. But first, I think one that's particularly relevant for me is how can Pākehā artists and art institutions engage with Māori perspectives and treaty issues responsibly and ethically? That's a big question.
Tēnā tātou katoa, me pēnei ake te kōrero. Just like to acknowledge and embrace everybody that's here today, this early afternoon, heading into Te Paupautanga o Te Rā. As we reach towards sort of getting close to have our hangi, I can smell it. It's making me very, very hungry. So, hungry for knowledge is also something that is important to sustain our curiosity, to extend the knowledge that we may or may not know, but also to be open to other forms of knowledge that can be presented in any context, really, at any given time, spontaneously. So I'd like to acknowledge the importance of the karakia. Karakia is really important in Article 4 of the Treaty of Waitangi we mentioned earlier today at Te Kaimaka Marae. Those of you who attended with our tangata tiriti, tangata whenua under the auspices of Te Kaimaka, with the Whare Oroto o Toi, Lake House Art Centre here, the relationship that we have is a reflection of art, both in terms of the carvings that are depicted at Te Kaimaka Marae, and also the artwork that's beautifully positioned here, both external and internal. This is a beautiful place to be, and an appropriate place for us at this time. Really recognising the importance of Te Tiriti o Waitangi through art. As you can see on my face, I was very inquisitive back when I was 9 years old. My grandmother's tangi, in fact, the kuia that was still alive at that time was Mireana's great-grandmother. Her name was Nani Pirihita, and she was probably close to 120 years old, and I was 9, according to her and according to our family history of her. She was one of the last of those that wore the tāmoko on the chin. It was chiseled, actually, te uhi matarau. And that was an inspiration for me in time when I reached the age of 20 to actually be one of the first New Zealand Māori to actually have the tāmoko done. Now that's back in the early 90s. So that expression of tāmoko, which, tāmoko is quite interesting. Tā kina, tā means to recite in terms of the artist. Tā also means to gather the knowledge and the information of our ancestors. Tā kina or tā also means to engrave or carve the history of our knowledge of our ancestors into the flesh. One of the closest designs that carvers do have, and I'm sure Ngā Tanahira is one of our master carvers here, would validate, hopefully, I'm sure he would, is that we have a design in the art form that is both human, iratua, and spiritual, which is called the wheku design. So if you look at it, it looks human and then also looks, from another dimension, the spiritual realm. So tā moko means the blueprint. Coming from the word mokopuna as well. Puna, the spring of knowledge, the spring of creation. Puna, mokopuna, grandchild. So the artist is responsible for ensuring that the oral traditions, which is called kōrero tuku iho, is used through the art forms to bring to life the history of our ancestors. And you can see that depicted in many art forms like the ones that are carved here, both in the contemporary style, and the three terminologies I like to use: inamata, onamata, and anamata, past, present and future. Because the artist is the medium, the kai tatau, the doorway between those three dimensions of time. So in my tāmoho here in front of you, it has four important dimensions. Manaatua is the spiritual connection first and foremost. So the artist, whether it be Māori, be it Pākehā, be it any artist that is in the domain of artistry, you are the mediator that then brings forward the history. We call the upper heavens the kauwairunga, down to the earth the kauwairaro. So you're firmly sort of grounded in the centre, like the doorway, like the vortex between both worlds. On my head is the mana atua, the sacred place of the body is the head. And that is sort of the direct connection to the creator, Io, and then sort of the genealogy, tree of life, coming to sky and earth, down to our ancestors to us. So that's an important factor as an artist, to have those connections. Now, Māori and Pākehā, and there's also, I've been privileged to meet non-Māori who are expert carvers, who are expert artists. And I've also been privileged here and other places to see other cultures, Asians, take up the chisel and carve and infuse their designs with a blend of us in terms of Māori and how those connections can be created. So the artist has no limitation, because there's a belief that the spiritual energy guides you as you create your art piece. Your art piece becomes the living representation of the history above us in the ancestral world, the spiritual world, and the physical realm. The artist, there's three parts to that as well. There's three types of artists. There's the whānau pani. That is an artist that has vision. Not just what you see with the eyes, but what you see with the unseen eye. The power of matakite, the seer, who provides that connection of the knowledge to the artist. I think there's quite a few who's out there. The whānau pani, all of us can have the ability to see and to visualize and to inspire messages from our past to become connected to our present and our future. The second artist is also known as Te Whānau Pito. Whānau Pito are all the artists that create art, whether it be of wood, stone, green stone, or any physical materials. Harakeke, flax fibres. Yeah, that's the Whānau Pito. The artist that has the ability to recreate the spiritual messages from above, the realms above us, the kawainga, and bringing it into this world as symbols of messages for us in this realm. Alright, so, and then the last, but also important kava is what we call Te Whānau Arua. So we've talked about Whānau Moke Moke, the person that has the ability to be the mediator between sky and earth, between the physical and spiritual. Then you have the Whānau Arua, which is the next artist, which is the artist that is the orator, which is the storyteller, which is the singer of the ancient chants, and is able to bring to life through the power of the voice art. Some beautiful artists in the calling of our wahine as kaikaranga. So that's the Whānau Rua, and as I mentioned, there's also the Whānau Pito, the artist that creates from the materials of the natural world. So in Article 4 of the treaty and Article 2, these artists that I've mentioned in categories create both the vision, create both the physical representation of the art, and also the oratory and the storytelling, bringing it to life. In my carving that's been engraved into my flesh, on the head there, if you can have a look, well, you can't see it unless you come straight up here. That's my ancient river from the beginning of the source of creation. We began from water. That's Tarawera. So the Tarawera River, from the source, from the mountain Tarawera, those that have been to the blue and green lakes, those that have had the chance to go to Lake Tarawera, my source of my origins begins from water. That's why we get this word wairua. Anyone say wairua? Wairua. We begin from wai, from water, wai atua, from the spiritual waters of creation, from the Creator, and then wai, or ira atua, wairua, from the physical world to us, our ancestors, then down to you and I. So my wairua, that commences from there. The other designs here in my nose is called the roro. That is the connection from the Creator, Io, the source of all things, to the tree of life, to sky and earth, down to us. Here's one of the chants in the creation of beginning from where I came from in the spiritual realm. So that's Article 4 of the treaty, which recognises our spiritual connections, and Article 2 recognises our connection to the environment in which we live. So as the artist, you have those domains. Tēnei ka toki nara, ka takawa, kia io matua kore, io take take, io nuku, io ragi, io matangaro, io mataho, io tipipia, io uru tapu. I commence the chant of creation from the beginning of time, from Io, the creator of all things. Taki nara, takawa ki tapu, ko tapu tua tahi, ko tapu tua rua, ko tapu tua taru, ko tapu tua wha, ko tapu tua rima, ko tapu tua noa, ko tapu tua whitu. Ko tapu tua waru, ko tapu tua iwa, ko tapu tua ngahuru, ko tapu te pipia, ko tapu te rawe, ko tapu ta mau, ko tapu te matua. So from the Creator, there's the foundation and the beginning. And it's in stages of 10. If you look at in numerology for us in creation, the Creator is symbolized in numerology 0110, Io. 1 symbolizes the Creator. 0 is that there is no beginning and there's no end. So Article 4 recognizes our spiritual connections as an artist. And Article 2 recognizes our connection to the environment. Tēnei kata ki nā rā takawa ki te pū, te more, ko te more atua tahi, ko te more atua rua, ko te more atua toru, ko te more atua whā, ko te more atua rima. Ko te more atua ono, ko te more atua whitu, ko te more atua waru, ko te more atua iwa, ko te more atua mahuru. Ko te more te whiwhia, ko te more te rauea, ko te more tā maua, ko te more te matua. Uhi, wē rotau mai te Māori haumi e ui e tā iki e. Bring forth the Māori, the energy, the life force, and let it be done. So the connection, it keeps going. But the importance of the artist, they need to also have the knowledge of these connections in terms of the history of our ancestors, the knowledge of the spiritual realm as a tohunga, as a spiritual advisor and leader. Because the voice of the karakia that we had earlier and that we do in our lives is the direct sort of communication voice that we have to the Creator, that we have to the birds, that we have to the ocean, that we have to the waterways, that there is a belief that the voice of God is in the sound of the earth, that it's everywhere. So then from the evolution and the creation from the beginning of time and cosmology, then there became te kore te pō, from cosmos to darkness to light. And then they created sky and earth, rangi nui and papatuanuku, and then the environment around us. Tāne is not a god. Tāne is an atua, which means ha is the breath of life, or atua coming from beyond, so that the spirit of the Creator that exists in the trees. There's a difference to saying, well, Tāne is the god of the forest. I don't know where that epistemology and understanding came from. But from epistemology, from a Māori point of view, from what I understood, has been taught to me by my ancestors, it is the spirit of the trees is one with the spirit of Tangaroa, which is the ocean, which is one with the spirit of Tawhiri Mātea, of the wind, which is one with the spirit of Tūmatawenga, which is the strength that exists in everything around us, including us as humans. Haumia to get together the spirit of those things that grow naturally from the earth, which our artists utilize all of these different materials from the natural world, don't we? Rongo Mātāne represents sort of all those things that are grown from the earth as well, as whiro, all the negative things that exist in life. Wherever there is light, there is darkness. Wherever there is good, there is not good. Wherever there is negativity, there is positivity. So there's always that. Remember, we say e-or, that means positive and negative. Negative and positive. So those energies exist all around us. So the artist in the last 180 years has become, in Māori art forms, many of those who are gifted with the ability to create. So it's not just a Māori expression. See, for example, I'll give you one example before we move. If you look at so on here, it's the creation. So rangi nui, we get rangi roa, we rangi pauri, we rangi pituma, we get tau nui, we get tau roa, we get tau pikere, we get marere, we get rangi ao, we get puhaurangi, we get oho mairangi. Now, I choose this line of my genealogy deliberately because one of the ancient tribes here in Auckland is Ngā Oho. The actual meeting house that's been named after this ancestor is over at Waiorea, not far from the Whare Kararehe, the zoo of Auckland. Waiorea College, the whare we built there is named after one of the original tribes of Auckland called Ngā Oho. Oho Mairangi was where the name Mairangi came from. Waitangi Bay was named after this ancestor, Oho Mairangi. So Oho Mairangi began Ruamuturangi, he began Taunga Tapu, he began Mawaka Atua, he began Uruika, he began Rangi Tapu, he began Atua Matua. He began Haumai Tapiti, he began Tamata Kapua, he began Kahumata Mamoe, he began Tawake Moi Tahanga, he began Uenuku Mairarotonga, he began Rangi Tihi, he began Rangi Aohia, which is the name of the meeting house, or one of the meeting houses where I come from in Matataha. It's called Rangi Aohia. He married Ako Heketara and began Mahi, he began Umumai, he began Whaia Te Ao, he began Hinere Huia, he began Tuinga, who married Ako Maua, son of Umutahi and Anipale. He began Puki Puki, he began Te Paitata, which is the name of my meeting house at my marae, where we live in Matataha, called Te Paitata. She married Iramoko 450 years ago. He began Te Haupurangiangi, he began Te Ramapakura, he began Pingohi, he began Te Wairerea Hia. He began Te Ramapakura, he began Te Mako Te Rangi, he began Te Aua, he began